Do we have anybody who would like to speak in abstention of the motion? We'll have our guest speaker from Oxford. Ooh.
Well, apart from committing the offence from being from Oxford, I'm also going to commit the sin just highlighted and talk about the record of the Labour government. And I think the reason I'm abstaining is I actually agree with what was said by Sir Vince. But my concern is, despite the achievements of the new Labour government, the way in which it approached these achievements meant that its legacy was very quickly destroyed by governments that came after it. So, for example, on civil liberties, yes, we had the Human Rights Act in adherence to the ECHR. Equally, we had ASBOs, we had detention without trial, highlighted by the first speaker, and this was the beginning of the road where you see cases like we've had recently with Shamima Begum, with stripping of citizenships in a profoundly illiberal fashion. And this goes on to what happened with Europe. Yes, Tony Blair was one of the first prime ministers who said we were going to take a leading role in Europe, but the fact the government were willing to open free movement to places in the former Eastern Bloc, but at the same time chose to demonize immigrants and demonize refugees, set up the rhetoric and the view of immigration which would prove so pivotal in the rise of UKIP and the eventual success of the Leave vote. And on devolution, on something that started as a very applaudable liberal principle of bringing power to where people reside, to localism, turned out that its legacy would allow a platform for some of the most, some of the worst forms of nationalism as we've seen with the SNP now, in a project that we know will tear the United Kingdom apart and will make people both in the United Kingdom and in Scotland poorer as a result. And on tax, the fact that Gordon Brown did raise tax but chose to do it by covert means, by raising national insurance contributions, rather than being honest in an upfront raising of income tax, contributed to a culture where we still believe as an electorate we can have good public services and we can have redistribution without paying more of our fair share. And then I finally come to the issue of Iraq. I think it's been highlighted that the work of the Blair government in Kosovo and East Timor is to be applauded. But the tragic result of Iraq, not only for the Iraqi people, is that when Bashar al-Assad decided to use chemical weapons against his own people, us in British politics were totally spineless in refusing to respond because we were so scarred by the experience and the political fallout of what happened. So we agree with Sir Vince. New Labour in government did many great things, but the manner in which it went about them has meant their legacy has been tarnished, and the worst elements of that government have been continued and exacerbated by governments that followed.